Oh, hey, look, an idea. Let's use it.
Oh, generating an idea. Having fun in a treehouse inside the moon in the Middle Ages.
This is completely
What?
nonsense.
What does that mean?
Honestly,
What does that mean?
you lost me at inside the moon.
What I'm imagining is essentially the aliens are exploiting them for what is essentially alien cocaine, right?
Literally, he's like, oh yeah, I'm the planet manager here. Like, everything you know and everything else you could possibly ever reach if you had your full lifetime to cover your whole world. That's what I go home from at the end of the day. Like, I'm just the manager of your entire realm of existence.
Dude, I got like 3 of these things that I'm covering.
Right. He's like, my boss? Like, you know the sun? He's got 4 of those. Is it oh yeah, there it is.
What? Do not redeem the card.
It's
Do not redeem the card. Do not redeem. Have you ever seen that video?
No, what are you doing?
This is a meme from like last year, where it's this guy who's I think it was one of those scam call videos where a dude's like scamming a scammer.
Yeah, got you.
And it's the scammer's
Pierogi, one of those guys.
Yeah, it's the scammer's reaction to like getting like a $500 like Google Play card getting redeemed, which was like I guess that guy's like life savings or something. And he was just very frustrated that the guy was like, "Oh wait, you said don't do that? Oh, I just put it in. Yeah. And the guy's like, "Do not redeem the card." It was. All right. Try using your mic now. I think at some point you got cut off.
Wieners. Okay, I think it's going. My mic is fixed.
Yeah. So, you want to write a novel?
Yeah, I think we should try and write a novel.
Well,
I don't know. This is the
novel.
first thing I said. We could do a different thing. What did we do last time?
Well, we made a play.
Yeah, so we can't do a play this time.
That was cool. I mean, just out of personal interest here, I really want to make some episodic, even if it's a limited series, because I know in the past we've talked about making series 1 out of the meatest times to be alive, but
the worst time to... It wasn't called the meatest.
The meatest time to be alive.
The meatest time to be alive.
The meatiest time to be alive. From the... Yeah.
No, yeah, you're right. It was meatest. The meatest time.
The meatest time. I'm just still down to make a series out of that, but I feel like if we can create even something that's like 4 episodes.
Okay.
Like that's just like a single month.
Limited run.
Yeah, limited. Something that's like...
I'm
before we go into making that, we can be like, all right, we've done it.
Yeah.
Even if it's like an EP instead of an album.
I'm going to go ahead and look here in the front of my writer's notebook. I put a couple of URLs. One is really good story ideas. I'm sorry, really good generator for story ideas.
Like .com or?
No, that's how I labeled it.
Oh.
You gotta go to filmcrux.com for this one.
Okay.
And I remember this one. It was like a bunch of words, and you can click on the words to change them, and you'll end up with a premise for a movie or a show. So we can start there.
I was gonna say, should I pull that up? Should I do that?
I'm down to do an episodic, a limited series. So if this is what we're doing.
I mean, it just is something that I would really like to...
Mm-hmm.
It feels like the kind of thing that should have been done already, if that makes sense. But by doing it now kind of cements the fact that we're like, yeah, we could have done this. We just had to do it.
I'm just saying we should randomly generate some kind of... doesn't have to be from Film Crux. This is going to be a for example.
Okay.
Of how to generate an idea.
I've never been on this website before.
I don't know. I feel like I should have wrote down the part of the website that I was on, and it seems like I didn't do that. I just wrote Film Crux. So is there a way you could search for like
I'm gonna go to free stuff.
You search the website for
Do they have anything in their free stuff, dude?
There it is.
Story
No, you found
idea
it.
generator.
We got it. Okay,
There
we're
it
good
is.
to go.
Dude, I told you it's gotta be free stuff,
There it
man. They
is.
got it. And that's
They've even got some free music.
mm-hmm.
We'll have the editor quick play a montage of a bunch of those songs.
Wow.
Right here.
I cannot believe that you got the editor to play a montage of the free music over this portion.
I like this part.
Why? Okay, I have the website pulled up now. I have it. I don't know how this works. You gotta teach me. I've never been on this before.
Okay, so you can click on the white squares to change the words.
Okay, so it says in action thriller set new. So I can click this and it'll change. An adventure thriller set. Okay. What are we doing? What are we doing here?
So I don't know. Just let's.
Okay, from these two, we have adventure and thriller. What are we feeling about these? How are you feeling about
I
adventure?
like
How you feeling about
adventure. I
thriller?
don't like thriller. Thriller. Excuse me. Thriller is too scary.
Okay,
But I like adventure.
Okay, I feel like I could stick with adventure, but I'd roll thriller. Adventure, action, adventure.
Adventure action is what it says.
Adventure,
so I think we have to
action,
remember
action.
that in the creation of
Yeah. Adventure first and action second.
Yeah.
Action. Yeah. That's good for storytelling. That's good for cinema watching for sure. Set in New York. Do we want to keep New York? I feel like
I kind of like New York. What are you thinking?
I do like New York.
Mm-hmm.
It is accessible. It is close by.
Yeah.
And well, here's the thing. I kind of want to click it though because I want to see what the other options are.
Let's
I'm
open
willing
the
to
box.
keep New York as the backup if nothing else is good.
Mm-hmm,
But I'm interested to see what we'd get in the role. So, set in L.A. I don't know. I don't know if I'm a fan of L.A.
Yeah, I don't like LA. It's too hot.
Set in the South, dude.
Also hot. But it's different hot. I don't know.
Set in the country. We could actually do something set in the
the country is kind of everywhere.
It's
we can
vague,
get to
but-
that. No, that's good though.
Yeah,
We
that's what I'm saying.
we have it.
Yeah, we have farmland.
We've got it.
We've got farmland. I would do something. An adventure action set in the country is kind of cool. though.
Right now I'm thinking of like a modern. We write it as a western, but it like takes place now.
Like a modern day western.
Yeah, I guess like a No Country for Old Men is kind of that.
Action adventure.
I like country.
Set in the country. I do like set.
I
in
kind
the
of like
country.
the country more than New York actually,
Yeah, I feel
because
like
it's just.
well. Because here's the thing. Initially, I was imagining green screen because I really do want to have something that's of length that has the full VHS green screen effect to it. That's not just like a 2 to 5 minute sketch, but like a legit, even if it's a limited series, because that has on its own as a visual is like grabbing enough. But if it had an actual narrative that it was telling, that would be enough where someone would be like, I want to share this with someone. You know, like that completes the loop of being like, oh yeah. It's like if you've ever seen I'm blanking on. I think it's like The Midnight Hour on Netflix. It's like this very psychedelic looking show, but most of the show is like,
Midnight Gospel.
yeah, there it is. Yeah, Midnight Gospel. A lot of the narrative is them just like talking. It's them like going on.
I mean, that's
adventure.
a straight up and down podcast for 90% of the screen time, really.
But if that had the same visuals, but it was like an actual, well, not you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Like it still is a story being told through a podcast format. But if it were like pre-concepted and then written and then like revised.
You know what would really be good for that actually? A true crime podcast, because those are already so like narrative.
Yeah.
You could just animate a 4-episode true crime podcast. That could be our show.
Ooh, now you're talking.
I mean, well, like not a true crime though, because I don't want to do that work. First of all, and also last of all, but like a fake crime animated podcast, for example.
Yeah.
So but it doesn't have to be. But I think that's I get where you're coming from. You want a really conversational, literally, like... Are you saying it like you really want it to be like Midnight Gospel, like an actual podcast format?
No.
Animated?
I like the visuals of it. I'm saying that's a good example of how the visuals of the show is already a selling point.
Oh,
to where people are like, all right, I'll watch it because it looks cool, but then I'm interested to see what the show's about. And then you're like, okay, the show, for the most part, is like podcast format, people talking. But I'm trying to come from the aspect of, if you had a show that already visually was like it sold someone, they're like, yeah, sure, I'll watch it. And then they watched it, and the story ended up being like Breaking Bad, you'd be like, holy shit, nobody knows about this.
It's a good point because...
Like, it doesn't have to be Breaking Bad level.
There's some exceptions, but I feel like mostly cartoons are more visually appealing when they're for younger audiences, right? If you take like the more like adult cartoons, like they're still cartoons, right? Like your Family Guy and stuff, but that like Family Guy is way
Teen
more...
Titans Go has a higher contrast in colors than the original Teen Titans, for example. Something like that, where the original Teen Titans
and
had
then you compare either of those to like SpongeBob or something like that. You know what I mean? Whereas like the older ones try to take themselves like I feel like they try to be a little bit more based in reality with their visuals. Like if you're watching Bob's Burgers or something, like it looks like it could have just been shot. Like it looks really mundane. But if we had something that was like the visuals of like Adventure Time or something.
That's literally what I was about to say.
Yeah, but then for
the story of Adventure Time too, though.
Yeah,
because that was one of those things where
that was one that did both. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying, and that's what really cements it as like a pillar of a show. Like, there's not many other shows where you can be like, it is visually entertaining. If you just don't even want to pay attention to the story, you can watch each episode and be like, yeah, this is still a good show. I like it.
There are people who are like, who have Adventure Time stuff, who probably haven't seen more than a few episodes of the show. Like there are people who just have it for the aesthetic out there, with like just to have like the hats or whatever.
No, exactly.
That's the visuals definitely carry themselves from that one.
But the narrative is what sells it. Because then everyone who's in it, who's like, oh yeah, the visuals are cool, you know, I'll watch it, it's nice. But then there's the people who are like, hey, wait a minute.
The story gets those people to sell it to other people. There's a lot of substance here. Yeah. To be like, now I can specifically remember when Larry, someone we went to school with, straight up was like, dude, you have to watch Adventure Time tonight. And this was during, I think it was like season 5 or something, so I guess there's like something with the flame princess going on, right? And it's like, because there's so much drama, he's like, you gotta see what it is. And especially later in the later seasons they did that more.
That in the grand scheme of the show was only like halfway through the arc of the actual series. That's one of those moments where you're capturing where people are like, I have to tell someone else.
Yeah, that's him telling you that because of the story. But then you take from episode 1, like I was one of the people that watched episode 1 when it aired of Adventure Time. Why? Not because the commercials told me there was some cool narrative that was going to happen. And I mean, I was I was 10 or whatever.
It
so
doesn't matter.
That wasn't really what they were going for. But it was because literally like the commercials were like a few seconds long sometimes. And it was just all of the candy people just dancing around at a candy party in the Candy Kingdom, and Finn and Jake like saying something in the center of the scene, like one of their catchphrases, and or something like that. And it's like Adventure Time, and you go like, it looks like the back of a cereal box. Like I just I need more of, like I just want to see that for longer. And that was like what got me to episode 1 of Adventure Time. But then I stayed there because the story was really what made it, worth seeing again, worth telling other people about.
Yeah. No, I feel that same like level of excitement when I see like the green screen overlay on VHS, like the clip of Corbin, or Steve Johnson.
Yeah, you gotta use the character names.
Yeah, the clip of Steve Johnson in the car.
Generally actors don't like it when you plug them. Yeah, good point. Use the character name only.
Yeah. But when he's playing Steve Johnson and he's in the car like that, it just looks so funny. It is the kind of thing that I want to. It doesn't matter what it's in, but being able to replicate that same kind of like, here's a character going from destination A to B in a Hot Wheels car and cementing that as like an actual like regular part of, like, imagine if that was just 30 seconds of a 10-minute like episode.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
and then you
that's
could
just one feature where you could be like, dude, you have to watch the show.
You can get
like,
so creative with it too. It's 'cause
Exactly.
you're doing putting someone in a Hot Wheels car with the green screen, right? You could also do some joke where it's like, you know, oh look at this
guy
geezer
driving around in
this
a
old
Tonka.
clunker, and it's like an old man driving around in like a
Fisher Price
tissue,
car.
yeah, like a shoebox or something. That like whatever people were using. I feel like it would probably be like a wooden car. What did the old people
Like
have
an
instead of
old
Matchbox car? Rock. A dirt clog. I don't know. I'm sorry if there's any. I'm sorry if
people
there's
above.
anybody above the age of 27. We can. Yeah,
Dog.
I feel safe actually.
Yeah, nobody above the age of 27 is listening to this anyway.
Not still. No.
No. But I don't know. I feel like the visuals alone on that is like enough to sell it. Where I'd be like, dang, I'd really want to watch that for just a hot minute. And then if
Yeah, that needs to
Yeah.
be there because
Yeah.
you gotta.
Yeah.
That brings you in.
Yeah.
And honestly, you know, like it is something you're looking forward to when you're going back to the show.
Well, yeah, because then that's one of those things where, like, instead of the only example being in Steve Johnson, where it's like, you know, after letting it sit for about a year now, like the core story of it is kind of meager, which is, you know, it really is like, guy comes home, gets in a car crash, friends berate him for being in a car crash,
Yeah.
threatens their lives. They all make up because they don't want to die. Like, you know, like it's
simple
that
enough.
didn't need to be 7.5 minutes. We didn't need to berate him for 3.5 of those 7.5 minutes. But it would have fit more if that were like a 12-minute episode, because then it would be like, oh, okay, the berating it wasn't literally half of the thing. It was an appropriate quarter, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Everything we've made sense has just been like little morsels, like a 2 to 3 minute, or really like a 2-minute bit.
But now, like, if we're gonna do, I like the, you want to just stick with a 4-part series, which you know maybe we'll. It doesn't necessarily have to be that, but there's no reason not to do a 4-part series.
There's no rigidness to stick to it, but I feel like it'd be good guidelines.
But each one could be 2 to 3 minutes, or is this gonna be longer? You think?
I would like longer. Like
20-minute episodes.
I wouldn't mind shorter. I would take shorter. Like, for me, the minimum length I'm looking for is like 10 minutes, like 8 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
Like, if it's a 9-minute episode, I'm cool. But if it's 7 and some change, I would like to bring it up to 8.
Well, so let's. I feel like I gotta know what we're writing about to talk more about like how long they should be and stuff. Let's finish with. Let's get the rest of this concept.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, do you want to stick with Film Crux, or I feel like we should turn this into Overdrive. Let's get like a little bit more of a complete
like
concept
like
generator.
Picture.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Which let's
So
look.
just look
What
up-
should we look for?
concept generator.
Okay, sure.
Well, we could go to our.
Do you think this is what
friend.
Do you think this is what the minds at like Google and in Silicon Valley spend their time doing? They have a concept
There's some
generator.
Silicon Valley dude who's
Idea.
created VizLabsStudios.com for the idea generator.
Man, in the future you won't even have to think.
Yeah,
They've got idea generators,
I can just generate
drive-throughs,
my
smartphones.
life now. That'd be cool.
We don't even have to come up with our own movies anymore.
Finally, I don't even watch it. I can just come up with a review for it, so I can just hear that instead.
All we need. Oh, hey, look, an idea. Let's use it.
Oh, generating an idea. Having fun in a treehouse inside the moon in the Middle Ages.
This is completely
What?
nonsense.
What does that mean?
Honestly,
what does that mean? I'm going
you
to
lost me at inside
conceptstart.net. Yeah. No, I got lost at in the Middle Ages. It's really where the twist is, because I was like, I could have fun in a treehouse. I could do it inside the moon. That sounds
Here's
cool.
what I feel
Like,
like
if you
right
find out the moon is like hollow, or there's like a secret
And there's
moon
trees
base
in
in the
there.
side the moon. Yeah, and they have a tree. They have
it's
a tree.
the Middle Ages in there.
Yeah, but
they're
how
behind.
is the Middle Ages? That's the part.
That's where you got lost.
Yeah,
Here,
where
I
I'm
was
like-
with you. I was with them the whole time. They said having fun in a treehouse. I was with them, and then it's like when I got in the treehouse with them, they threw a handful of crystal meth and acid into my face, and like that was what happened for the rest of the idea. Like now we're inside the moon. I'm like in. I'm like wait, the moon, and.
Not on.
And it's like my leash, like, wait, what's going on? Get a new idea. This is horrible.
I do think that's kind of funny in the sense where it's like it's one of those stories that's told by the shot being different. So like you have the same like the shot is set up where you're in the treehouse and it's just you in the treehouse and you look back at the guy and like now it's like the background's different. You're like, what do you mean you've got a cowboy hat on and we're in the westerns and it comes back to you and now you're in the open
like
yeah, like in an open field, like, oh man, we really gotta get out of here. We got this problem. Like, I don't know. Okay, what's the next idea? Crafting a weapon in a castle in an oh my goodness, irradiated desert.
like Fallout,
Irradiated desert.
like radiation. I think that okay.
I feel like that's spelled wrong though.
I think it is, but
Year 10,000.
okay, this one actually makes sense. This one actually is a complete sentence or a complete idea. Unlike
that
the
is
last
like
one.
an actual full thought.
Crafting a weapon in a castle in an irradiated. Yeah,
Like an irradiated.
There's a lot of. I don't think there's supposed to be that many
That's
eyes.
what I'm saying. That is spelled incorrect.
I don't even know which one's supposed to go, but I think there's too many eyes. Irradiated? That doesn't seem right. There's too many in there.
I feel like
I
that's
think it's supposed to be like irradiated.
right. IRRADIATE.
Yeah, there's. We can't trust this concept generator.
We really can't.
No, I'm just kidding. This is actually a good idea. This is the first one that makes sense.
Yeah, it threw in an extra. That's what really threw me off because I was like, that can't be a word.
Yeah.
Not in our English lexicon.
Well, you know what? It has 3 eyes because it's irradiated. That's the joke.
Yeah, it got.
That's what happened. It got
swallowed.
mutated. Okay, so that actually makes sense, but I don't know. That's also very like high concept.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay.
But I don't know. People like Fallout. Like this, the whole like toxic wasteland future is not actually. Maybe it's not as high concept as I think. It's like it's not uncommon, at least not super out there.
Because it's cool. We could, for like radiation desert looking thing, we could just go, just like to the beach, and get like photos of like, kind of by the construction area, but not showing any like cars or trucks or anything. So it just looks like, just like sand and dust, dirt and grime. But I like the idea of crafting because that seems like a good like opening shot. Like that seems like it could tell a longer story.
It also seems like a good. But I was thinking
like,
of that.
Why are
as
you
like
crafting? Why are you in a castle? How long did it take you to get
Yeah,
here? Why is the radiation in the desert? Like you have a
Exactly.
lot.
But then that's also like the goal. So it's a great. You start with the person crafting the weapon, and like you're saying,
you
it's like,
have
why are
so
you
many
making this?
questions.
What is it? Because
right
it's
off the
like,
bat.
it doesn't seem like you're in some kind of an urgent state. Like you're just seeing this person working on this thing. So it's like, what is their?
They're just like they're literally
it's not
crafting.
like they seems like they want this weapon more than they need it. Like I don't know. It's like I'll have all kinds of weird vibes about them. Because then they're like, all right, I'm gonna take a break. Like a break? Like what is it? Like is this not for war? Like what is this?
It? What is this? What are you doing? What is this?
Yeah, I like
castle?
the idea of like he has to make this weapon to like do whatever he's gonna do, and then that's like a concrete goal. Yeah, because like if this is maybe if this is your Mad Max, like he's making a big cannon to blast a Morton Joe or whatever. Like this is definitely gonna be like the end of the movie is like dependent on this thing being made. That was my first thought from.
Yeah, that would be good. Giving it a like that Craggle effect from Lego.
Yeah, exactly. This becomes your MacGuffin, but it's not even like getting it somewhere or stealing it from the thing is just finishing the object. That's an interesting. Well, actually, no. I feel like that lends itself to the MacGuffin would be that last piece of the weapon that's what they're fighting over, probably. Right? Like we have to
connect it to like complete the thing.
Yeah. So it's like we got to get that last part, but like the antagonist also wants that.
I feel like something we're also overlooking here is year 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
That is like
super duper far. Yeah,
well,
were you?
not
Did
only
you
super
just?
duper far.
For those of you listening at home, for those of you listening at home, he pointed to the screen where it says year 10,000, and he goes, "That's like," and his hand kind of drifted over to his calendar on his screen. Like he was about to check when 10,000 is coming up.
Well, no, it's we're almost at 2025. That's like a quarter almost of the way there. Like when you think about it, that is like what the next 500, almost 475 or so years makes it a quarter of that many. So that's imagine everything that's happened since. 3 times over.
Yeah, well,
like,
3 more times.
Like, what would Earth look like if that is a place that even is inhabitable?
Well, I'm focusing on the irradiated part. So, like, what? Obviously, yeah, 10,000 is really far.
Well, maybe it's not even Earth. That's what I'm saying. That really farness gives you gives you a lot to be like, hey, yeah.
This could be like a one planet space opera.
I mean, it could. There's a lot in terms of what the
like
history
Dune.
Could be because. It's very far in the future,
a space opera or not.
but it's also like...
I think it does. Here's the thing. It's super far in the future and post-apocalyptic. So it's kind of like do whatever you want. Is it?
It's a mix of both.
It's
like
technology levels. It's kind of it's kind of a do-it-yourself.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
Yeah.
Something. Yeah. Like I like the you kind of mentioned it could be another planet
with anything too.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can be like, hey, this planet like. We discovered interplanetary travel, and the aliens that we met weren't happy that we broke out of the bubble, so they nuked us. And now there's like a couple of civilizations who like kind of live around here, but is nowhere near the same.
Mm-hmm.
Now everyone's just like struggling for we got essentially reset back to like the Iron Age.
Yeah.
So now we're just trying to like figure out how to become a scientist.
So now we're just stuck here in this irradiated desert, inside the moon, in the Middle Ages.
I gotta figure out how to make a rocket from scratch so that I can send myself into orbit.
Yeah, like you could be making literally like something big, like. Okay, a cool way to do this is like you could have that Middle Ages vibe then. Like you're kind of saying like, they got reset back to basically the Iron Age and the ruins of like a space age civ like world, but in the sky is what to these people who are living in this Middle Age way, it's like essentially just this floating fortress where the gods live on, but it's it's like it's the aliens that are up there just basically exploiting this
watching
world,
over everything,
making them and making what it is, they're making the people work in the people have to put themselves in the danger of radiation so the aliens don't have to, basically.
Yeah,
so this dude is like secretly building a like nuke to send up there. Like he's making a missile. Maybe he's in like you open up and he's living. You really want to hammer home your doomsday apocalypse, like he's Cloverfield Lane or whatever, like feeling he's in a bunker, like you have him living in like a missile silo, and he finds this thing, and like nobody knows what missiles are, and he's like, what is this artifact? But he's like, no, he's like building this warhead to go up there and blow up the UFO.
I do like that because then that opens up the concept of.
Like or it's a laser. Maybe it's a laser, but go ahead. Well, I don't know. Same thing.
Hear me out. Let's say in just an episode 1 of 4 here. If we were able to fit in the concept of a radiated planet, aliens over the sky watching it, finding like a missile, and the character motivation of being, if we can blow up a hole in the sky, we can actually see what's beyond. If anything, the people up there in the sky are going to come down here to try and reprimand or resolve whatever happened, and then that might be our opportunity to hijack it and get out. Okay, like so that I feel like is a lot of a setup where if that were the entire episode, up to there's a hole in the sky now, and I don't know, nothing happens, or there's a hole in the sky and I don't know, maybe an accomplice who was there helping out gets like immediately exploded by a fucking laser beam or something. Like I feel like that has enough to be cliffhanger is the word.
Yeah, okay.
To be a cliffhanger, where if we're like, yeah, next week is going to continue.
You know what you could even, it'd be a cool version of that is, yeah, they finally, like the end of episode 1, if that's what you want it to be, which I think that is a good idea, because then it's like, wait, what's the rest of the series going to even be about?
Exactly.
The end of episode 1, the missile actually goes off. They finish it, the missile goes off, it hits your... I'm picturing like the District 9, like a big clunky fortress up there.
Yeah.
It hits it explodes, and everyone's like on the edge, like, just like waiting for the smoke to clear to see if they actually did we win, right, or whatever. And as it does, you just see this ship is completely unaffected. And there's this moment of just like defeat, like no one really quite knows what to do. But then what you see, like, and this has never happened before, is like. And it's probably like this slow, dramatic, like this bay door like starts to open, and that's like the end of episode 1. And they're actually gonna come down and do something.
Yeah. I see that. Oh, that's so. See, that's the kind of thing where if you saw that on YouTube.com on a video that had, let's say, less than 300 views. Like if you were one of the first 500 people to view that, almost guaranteed you'd be like, wait, who made this? Who made this?
Why is this so small?
Right? Like, why do I want to know what's gonna happen next so much? Like, I need to.
I was looking for my pencil. I can't find it.
You want to?
Yeah, I was going to start writing some of this down.
Want a pen? I can give you a pen.
Right, with confidence.
Yeah, for our audience, I've just passed over a Supreme G2 Pilot pen in the color of purple.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's got the Supreme logo.
Yeah, I only buy things from Supreme. They're really cheap nowadays.
So in episode 1, we have we should probably talk about
our protagonist here.
Yeah. I don't know. This might just be a plot-driven.
I mean,
at this point, it is. We've kind of started with the plot.
I feel like that character is like a Mario. Like you can just plug in.
We can
like sure, Mario has characters who are also related to him, and like they have got links together, but he's kind of just like a guy. Like.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying basically describes actually, like, Pulp Fiction heroes. like, John Carter or Conan, basically, their whole point was to be, like, Mario. Like, just, like, so you can kind of just read, like, through this, world and through the story, but kind of, like, as you. Like, they didn't have that much personality. So it could even be a character kind of like that. That doesn't have that much, and we keep it more grittier, and it feels like a pulp. But I don't know. I feel like we got to talk about who they are because I want to know a little bit more about like what
their intentions,
and also what is this place like that live here? Like, who are these people that live in this?
Yeah, place? I feel like we should choose a person. Because if we can choose a person who's existing in this world, we can kind of base the world around their viewpoint. Like, who are the other people
that's
who
why
exist
I want to
here?
get a character before we go too much further.
No, I get where you're coming from on that. I don't know. I mean, okay, if this person is crafting a weapon, they should probably be like some kind of mechanic or some kind of technically advanced enough to be able to craft something.
I mean, maybe they like work on, like, so they're not like an inventor or whatever, but like they work on in the factories, like on the machines. You know what I mean? So like they're still like, I want it to be some version of toiling for the Supreme Overlords. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want it to be like glamorous. I want him to just be he's like clunking around in the factory with all his tools and like trying not to lose his fingers in the parts and his grueling work. And then so somehow he stumbles onto this missile close to the beginning of the episode.
I like the like work being like, what I'm imagining is essentially the aliens are exploiting them for what is essentially alien cocaine, right? where and the way they're getting it is the radiation. Once they radiated this planet, it started like growing crystals. That is pure radiation. It's bad for you. But if you extract those crystals and cut them up very finely and like grind them to a powder, it's safe enough for those aliens to consume, and they get messed up.
Yeah.
So you could literally have a giant factory where these people's whole job is literally having to handle giant crystals and just crush them into dust. And that's like enough of a simple job to be like, man, I hate this. I'm just literally doing it. And also like dangerous enough to be like, we have this giant crush press. Like I've seen a man lose his hands by
be careful putting
not
crystals
paying
in there,
attention in there.
And it's
that also gives way for like potentially even inventory regions where they're holding things that would get sent up to the aliens. Maybe a dusty old missile that they were supposed to use a while ago, but they just like retired from the ship or like never sent.
I'm also thinking about like if this isn't a radiated place and you want to. I'm thinking about probably the Cold War, but like if he's finding this missile and we want it to be, I'm thinking structure wise, we plant like the piece that he needs to finish the missile early in the episode, and then he finds the missile and he's like, oh, I need that thing. And it's like what I thought of was the whatever radiation, like the so in this case the crystals that make the alien coke were also in the age past, before this became post-apocalyptic. I wanted to say post-apocalypse, but then I committed to the other suffix and it came out wrong. So if this is that, the civilization before, again, everything would be probably run on radiation, and like they're taking it for granted, or at least they it's some of it is, because that's what they're getting these crystals for, or not for. They're getting them, but they are radioactive, and then they're turning them into space drugs for the aliens instead. But then he finds, like an ancient artifact warhead that the thing he needs to fuel it is, radioactive crystal, like that, what they used to power everything with.
Yeah.
Like the factory probably runs on it too. You know what I mean? Like it's like the system that. So he's just like, I gotta take some of this from work.
Yeah, bring it back home. I won't crush it.
Yeah.
I gotta use it. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, a question we're eventually gonna have to like, does this work for humans? I feel like that changes things. If people are just like looking around, doing it real quick before their boss sees.
I like the idea of it just immediately kills them
at work.
Well, no,
that's what I think. It should not even work.
No, it doesn't. And they'll tell them. They'll be like, "Hey, man, it won't work. You can try it if you want to, but it's not gonna help."
Yeah, it'll be. He's like, you can try if you want to, but it's gonna be one less mouth to feed.
Right.
Like, shit's tough down here. Go ahead, snort some space coke.
You'll be fine. Oh man. Yeah.
So for episode 1 so far, I wrote down that he's gonna like find this missile. He's gonna steal, power crystal or whatever. And then like not successful. He's gonna launch the missile. It's gonna not blow up the ship. The doors open. End of episode 1.
Oh yeah. That's. I see. That's what I need. An episode. When someone says that's a jam-packed episode, I like episodes like that where you finish watching it and you're like,
is that just one episode?
Yeah, right. Like,
what's that? Like if you watch Game of Thrones, there's some that it's like you feel like you just watched 3 scenes by the end of the episode, and then there's some you feel like you just watched 3 episodes of the show because so much happened in it.
That's what I'm saying. Like being able to hit with like, oh man. Like this is this is world being like churning right now. Yeah, no, that does feel good.
I mean, obviously, there could be and that's an A plot. There's more could happen with episode 1, but I'm okay with moving on to I want to let's not
core.
Let's try to build up
core
before
narrative.
we build out. I guess let's do the core.
So I guess we pick up from when the alien people are coming down, right? Well, we wouldn't have to.
So I think, I think you do. I think the beginning of episode 1 ends. Everyone's standing there in shock as the door starts to open, right? Episode 2, you pick up. It's like chaos. Like everyone's just scrambling around. Get this, hide that. Where's my family? Like we're gonna run away. We're gonna hide under here. And like in the meantime, like if you look up, you see like these multiple like shuttles coming out of it, like just like there's like just smaller ones coming out of it, like because they don't. These coming out. Yeah, these people don't understand. But you know what I mean? Like
they're like deploying.
Like there's new fortresses coming out of the Sky Fortress coming down at us.
Pods full of tinier like.
Well, actually, no. I mean, like, they probably wouldn't see ships, right? Because if they're transporting the space coke up there, I'm imagining like a drone comes. Because I don't want them to have seen any of these aliens in person before this. Because I want them to be like awesome when they show up. They have a hologram or something.
They've got to have like an analog shoot up to the people, up to the ship, like one central location where like. Once everything is processed, it gets sent down that way, and that's the technology.
And I was thinking you could, and
it's like railroad, just up to
they're just used to sending it away from like to the next place. They don't really know how it gets to the ship, but it could be then. It gets to like right under, everything kind of collects underneath. The ship is in like the central, centered of like all the different factories. And it all gets sent there, and then maybe it gets like beamed up. Like so, we still don't see. We never see anything leave the ship before this, until these, essentially like soldiers are gonna come down and rough them up. Like they've never seen this before.
Oh man, I feel like we need the people who are coming down. Right, they're sending these ships. That's immediate aggression, which is okay. But we need something that's like, I feel like, really doubling down on like, hey, you can't do that. Things are different now, or like juxtaposition of like, hey, which one of you guys did that? Like, I feel like there was.
I was thinking. There's two versions of it. Do they come down and line everyone up? You know what I mean? Or do they come down and say like. Well, obviously this village is canceled. Like it's no difference to that. Like just go down and blast everyone that lives there. Yeah. And then this won't happen again before this idea spreads or anything like that.
You know what it is?
We don't want to talk to the other humans about this.
Who's the central authority? Who's like speaking that essentially? Like who's the commander? Who's coming down and being like, all right, what happened here? Like the ship opens and people are exiting, but.
One of them is in one of them has to be your like the captain or whatever.
Like one of them's got to be in charge of this planet, or the person exporting all the dust or something. Like there's got to be someone there who's like, you're interrupting my process.
Oh, okay. So like the person responsible, and like his job is he's responsible for making sure that the crystal coke does get to the ship. So in essence, the missile, like the humans launching the missile and hitting the ship, looks bad on him. So he's it's just like the manager, the whole operation. So he's the person they would have seen already as the hologram commanding them and stuff. Like, but never in person. This is the first time they've seen him in person. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, space manager, like whatever his name would be, like some kind of made up alien name, but it sounds like manager. Right, I don't know.
Flamger.
Not that. Xanager. No.
Wait a minute.
Janitor. No, that's not. That's something
My
else.
name is Janitor. I like the idea of giving all of the
what
aliens...
What if his name is the manager? Like, that's all... He's the manager. Like, that's how he's... That's how he presents himself to all the humans.
He doesn't have any other name.
Oh man, because it's so like
that is very authoritative.
Yeah, he's like, just and like there are no other
like there's no names for him. You'd be like,
wait, you don't
want to mess off the manager.
Picture no manager equal to me. Like there are no other I'm the manager. He's the only boss. Maybe his name's the boss. No, I like the manager.
The manager.
Because everyone knows, like everyone can relate to that one more. I think.
Anytime there's a boss, I always want to say big boss, but then that gives away potential for big boss to have a little boss.
That's true. Like then it's like, where's the other bosses? Okay, so the manager arrives, but like, are they just here to blow up the town, like, and it's a tragedy, or are they gonna like find the one person that did this and or something else. Maybe I'm missing it.
That's what I feel like is. We need so if we know that the manager is the person who's upset, right? Because they're like, hey, something is being upset in the process. We should get to a glimpse of who the manager is working for. Like, we should get a glimpse of...
No, wait. Yeah, no, yes, yeah, but... Yeah, because you have... Okay, like, the shot where...
For 2 episodes later.
Here's the shot. This is exactly what you're saying, I think. The shot is an over-the-shoulder from behind the big boss's, like, chair. Like, the only thing you can see is, like, his arm on the armrest, and he's talking to the manager who's, like, centered in the shot. Like, that's... that's the guy you're saying.
It.
Now, wait, I thought of this, though. Can we do this? That guy in the chair, his name is the manager. And the guy that's coming down, you want to know what his name is? The supervisor.
I was really hoping for the Voyager.
No! I like the supervisor because, like, supervisors are people who are, like, on track to becoming managers, but they haven't been fully promoted to manager yet, essentially. So they're, like, real tough. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I have a worse taste in my mouth from supervisor, at least from certain experiences than I do from manager. I don't know. I like supervisor. That just seems so much like... It's a little grittier.
Yeah, it does. Have more like.
It shows that he's not done. Like, he's still ambitious because, like, he's not done.
Yeah.
He could. He's not at the top. Manager sounds like, okay, that's his job. Supervisor, I'm like, that's someone who just got promoted, but like just got a taste of promotion.
But not at the top of the ladder.
I know there's someone else who is
above this guy.
Who's still bossing this person. Exactly, yeah. So it's like it makes it seem all this much bigger and out of your hands.
For sure.
Okay, so I'm going to call him the supervisor. That's pretty good.
I do like the idea of the manager then, like, saying something to the supervisor and being like, hey, why'd you do this? And the supervisor having to, like, quickly explain, and then the manager being like, oh man, well, you know, you better go figure out what's going on, and this isn't, like, otherwise, like, you're done, you're cut, you can't be doing this, like, this has never happened before. You can't just be having missiles being sent to us. Who knows, what if we were partying, what if we were deep into Yodi land right now, like, we could have all been gone. So then that gives the supervisor the urgency to come down and be like, listen, the stakes here are high.
Okay.
Like,
I just thought and you just said the stakes are high, and I just thought of something for that. Is one way you can make this a little bit more complicated too is the manager is like, dude, go wipe, like, obviously you need to go erase that village so they don't do something like that again. But the supervisor's like, no, like, you know, like, I can fix this because that one is like one of my most producing factories or whatever. Like, he doesn't want to completely get rid of them.
That's a good
factory. But the manager's like, no, dude, just wipe them out. So it's like
multiple planets of this.
Yeah,
like,
and then that's stakes that the humans aren't even necessarily aware of.
Yeah.
Like, everything the humans are doing to make the supervisor's life harder is something the supervisor actually has to go back and kind of defend them to his manager, because the manager's like, just kill them all. And like they don't even realize they're doing that to themselves.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm gonna write that conflict down. I'm gonna put the manager wants to wipe them out. but he's the supervisor, to be clear, is like, I want to save my factory.
Yeah,
like,
I want this to continue to work.
He's not really like, I want to save the people. He's still gonna be.
He wants to save the
villain.
process.
Yeah.
He doesn't want the entire, like, all of it to go away.
This is good. Yeah, I'm picturing just like tall, like. Just authoritarian-looking aliens. I don't know how else to, like, well-postured, like, just well-postured, like, tall aliens that are bossing us around.
Goopy-looking, like, South Park gray aliens, big head.
I guess kind of. I was picturing something a little more serious than that, but
I realistically, they probably should be serious-looking, but I do want.
You could definitely start from a gray alien base.
Doesn't have to be a need, but I would like if somewhere we could fit.
Doesn't have to be a need. So it sounds like you're still pretty attached to this.
Well, no, it's not a need. It's just, it would be interesting. I'd like to see it come to fruition if it were possible to fit, like, a character or a species or I feel like now that we've set down a lot of like foundation that is serious and is like gritty, like that one small aspect that's like it is kind of like comic relief to it, because then even if what is actually being said in the story is like serious and it has repercussions that you need to follow, for a brief moment you can be like, why is a goofy big-headed alien telling me this? Like, or maybe the dust inflates their heads larger, so now they're like, you had a conversation with them before and they're just like, yeah, we're doing good, and
then you
come
see
back
him,
later
he
and they're
looks
just like,
wacky, and he's also acting like a weird baby, like, because he's tripping balls.
I just, like, after laying down some serious stuff, it is good to have something that's just like really wacky and funny and really bizarre for the characters to have the internal comic relief, not just the audience, the viewer, to be like, geez, whew, okay, that scene was stressful, but for the literal character to be like, man, like, these are stakes, this is serious, this is my life, but like, really?
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like that gives more like life to the character,
and it also makes the aliens seem like, the fact that they can't even take it seriously when it's like literally life or death for this other person.
Yeah, that like
it makes them more villainous too.
It really, yeah, right. Like
they're so distanced from consequence.
Yeah,
like they're literally just gonna do some more coke in the middle of this conversation, where the character's like trying to kill them. Like, he's holding them at gunpoint, and they're in the middle of their monologue, just like, oh, hang on. And like goes back into saying why he won't actually pull the trigger or whatever. Oh man,
right? Like, because it's that small bit of goofiness element that really does add,
makes it one of our projects. Frankly,
it really gives it just so much. It's the sauce.
Here's what we need to, actually, let's where we want to end episode 2. Let's try to do it this way. Or should we even take a step back and talk about the 4 episodes again? I don't know if I kind of like doing this, seeing where it's going, but I at least want to see the end of the episode.
I get what you're saying. I do want to know where this is leading up to.
Because I feel like that was what made episode 1 work so quickly.
Yeah,
because we knew where we were going and where we were starting. Definitely, we're starting with the supervisor comes down. Or even like right before that, a scene where the manager's talking to him. We do that one in the beginning of that episode, I think.
Because then if you have somewhere in episode 3 a conflict arises where now your protagonist is dealing directly with the manager instead of, like, for some reason the supervisor is wiped out somehow.
Or he got moved to another department.
Yeah, or like moved to another got sent to a different planet, dude. Or just like something where the manager would have been foreshadowed in the previous episode as like an even scarier, higher authority.
Yeah, and it's just
now in the next episode you're like, damn, like that's what we're up against now.
The idea that like this is such a galactic like operation, or like it's in other worlds, that his title is literally, he's like, oh yeah, I'm the planet manager here. Like everything you know. And everything else you could possibly ever reach if you had your full lifetime to cover your whole world. That's what I go home from at the end of the day. Like, I'm just the manager of your entire realm of existence.
Dude, I got like 3 of these things that I'm covering.
Right? He's like my boss. Like, you know the sun? He's got 4 of those.
Literally like that.
And then these people are like, our protagonist is from the Iron Age, essentially.
Yeah.
In this,
imagine having to work your way up through all of those like technological advancements. That's insane. Okay, so
the company is all about making drugs.
I mean,
he's like, this isn't even one of the, like,
space.
This isn't even one of the bigger companies like in our civilization.
Right? Like,
we just do cocaine. No, that probably would be actually huge.
Well, I mean, just imagine, like, take for example how big the tobacco industry.
Right, that's
already.
what I was thinking. I was like, if
multiply that.
It seems like this is above board too.
Like,
just like this isn't an alien cartel. Systems. They're allowed to be doing this. This would be huge.
Yeah. No, yeah, they'd be getting in
there. If the manager's coming, or the supervisor, is coming, what if the end of episode 2, you want a hard turning point, cliffhanger.
Yeah.
The end of episode 2 is the manager gets his way and they wipe out the village.
Yeah.
And there's no turning back at that. Like, that's a great plot point.
That really is a hard-hitting plot point, because that's the kind of moment where the entire time you've been rooting for this and it doesn't happen. So now, literally, as an audience, as a viewer, that's the moment where you're gasping. That's the moment where you're watching and go, like,
and come back next time.
Yeah, that is the, like,
I do like the idea of ending on the manager or the supervisor just loses to him, and the village gets blown up.
Okay.
And I think like in the middle, it is them trying to fight back, and that's what makes it worse for them.
The manager should blow up the village while the supervisor is still there, trying to like fix and resolve it, to really cement how much the manager is like, dude, you're making this so much larger of a problem than it needs to be. Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna fix it. Like, even if you're not a part of the system, like, whatever. Like, this is to the point where now you can have, for some reason, let's say the protagonist was sent on an errand.
If you want to do that, if you want to have him blow up the village with the supervisor still in it, and have it seem, like allowed, pretty much, like, as a writer, I'm thinking, you know, if you want to plant, if that's the payoff of something else, I think the way you plant that is in that initial meeting in the beginning of the episode. He has to tell him like just remember, I can always get another supervisor.
Yeah,
and like he doesn't have to say I'm gonna kill you if you don't do this right, but he just says I can always get another supervisor.
Exactly.
And so you're thinking he's gonna get fired or whatever. But he's like really like, it's firing people is so hard and expensive.
Think
like I'm
just
gonna
get
blow him
fired, but it's actually the guy going fire.
And he's being fired upon with weaponry.
But let's say you have your protagonist make it out of the core village, like he's for some reason already en route to like whatever like he's been given some information by the supervisor to be like, yeah, this is the next stop of something, and he's like, all right, I'm going on dune buggy, I'm heading out. And while the supervisor's there, he's still trying to figure out the rest of the people and like talk to them, and the explosion happens. Then you can have that point where now the protagonist is like, oh, the supervisor's gone, my entire life is gone. Now, like, the last things that were told to me about, you know, solving this problem here so that we can deal with the higher-ups, like, like, that's entirely on me now. Like, if I want to go through with it, I can. I know what to do. I know where to go. If I don't want to go through with it, they're probably going to find me and kill me too.
You're saying that the supervisor should, like, die at the end of this episode?
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like
this
a lot.
Because that gives you, again, now your protagonist, who was initially scared of the supervisor in episode 1, has completely gone on the journey of, the supervisor is actually one of us. He's actually on our team. So now instead of feeling like I hate this guy, it's like, okay, you know what, I could kind of get used to this guy. He's trying to keep us alive. And then having that yanked from you.
Okay, so like, in the middle, he should reveal what's going on. He's like, don't you guys, like, if you don't pull it together, they're gonna blow this whole thing up.
Yeah, and like, sure, there's probably gonna be some people there who are like, whatever, it doesn't matter, man. Like, we're already in the radiated world. Like, gonna be real. Blow us up, dude. I don't have to go to work tomorrow.
I think maybe you do actually. That I don't know. That could even be. Maybe you save that for the end, right? Because that seems like the supervisor's breaking point, where he finally tells them, like, because at this point he hasn't been seeing them as people yet. So it's finally like at the end where he feels like he's like, why don't I? It occurs to him just tell them the actual reason here. He's like, guys, if you don't like stop causing trouble and just go back to work, they're literally going to blow this whole place up. And, like, he tells them that, like, after he was supposed to have gone back to the ship already. So now he hasn't shown up, and someone's like, you know, to the manager, they're like, sir, we think the supervisor's still in that village. And he's like, like, he's like, just do it. Like, just
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, man. It's like, too much. If we don't get it now.
You know what he does? I think he picks up, like, his future walkie-talkie or whatever, like, to his space radio he used to talk to the supervisor, like, you know, supervisor, come in, and he, like, the supervisor's, like, busy giving a speech or whatever, he doesn't even know what's going on, and you come back to the manager just kind of nonchalantly, like, waving it, like, see, like, well, I don't see like supervisor. You still in the village? Guess he's not there, guys. Like,
right?
like
Send it.
Completely bullshit. Send it.
But it still needs to have the protagonist like leave the blast zone so that he could, you know, they could still live with the new information of a new changed worldview.
I don't know if it has to be like they nuke the village or even maybe they're just blasting it with like essentially like starfighters. Like they just have some ships kind of just blow it apart. So you can have the scene of like you can have the protagonist be there, but like escape during that, like running out of that. But then most people get killed. Like the supervisor doesn't make it, and
it just gets like they get a bunch of bombs dropped on them.
Yeah,
they should even the same missile that gets sent up that they used. It should just be like every single fleet they have of those, and they just drop those.
Yeah, like they have so many of them.
They're like, this is what you wanted. But no, I do like that because then you can have that episode 2 to episode 3 crossover. Be like, guys, don't you see what's happening? Like, or I don't know. I kind of do like.
I'm saying episode 2, ends
like it would
with the
end
town
with that,
with being shot apart and the protagonist running away, and honestly, like the most shocking thing is the supervisor being killed.
Yeah,
and you're like, what? Again, what's gonna go on? And like now it's it's just about the manager.
You got your protagonist like on a horse.
Episode 1 needs to, in those holograms from when they're like delivering or in posters at work or whatever, the supervisor and the manager both need to be like referenced at least. I think so that they can feel like they're through the whole show.
They're there in the lore.
I think episode 2 ends with the town being blown up, and. I'm trying to work back in is like how are they gonna get like if the supervisor stayed there and got killed, his personal like craft would still like that episode 3 could be about we have to get through. Maybe they don't escape in episode 2. Like episode 3 starts in the ruins of the like city that they are living in or the town, whatever it is, and they're like we got to get to the supervisor's ship, and we're gonna go up there and we're gonna end this.
I was gonna say I do like that because for a start of episode 3, like imagery that I'm having is the impact moment of the bombs being dropped, so that you can have your like episode 2 be like, guys, if you don't get your act together, they're going to explode us all. Like,
he's like, this was my last chance, and
they're going to send, and then it happens.
Then it happens right there.
Episode ends. So then you're literally like,
who lives and who dies? Like
exactly. Now you're thinking, hey, did the we haven't cut back to the protagonist in a minute. Did he just get blown up while
credits
this speech was happening? Right? Like what? Like that's the kind of thing where.
But you should see the supervisor die.
Yeah. That needs to for sure. Like
that should be in episode 2, so he's not going to be in the other 50% of the show.
Yeah. And that's so crazy because then you can have your episode 3 like begin with again. The impact moment of all of that, maybe from an overhead view now instead of like on the ground view, and then that gives you leeway to have the actual dust settle, not just the impact. To be like, all right, who's actually still here? Who's going on? Like, what do we do? Who's here to be able to help? Who's not here? Like, what resources do we like? That's such like a reset point. Again already. Like
before we get too deep into episode 3, I still have a gap for like the center of episode 2.
Okay.
Right? Manager talks to supervisor about blowing up the town. Supervisor's like, I can fix this. Supervisor comes down. ... The town gets bombed and the supervisor gets killed. So in the middle, I don't know. I'm thinking the best thing I can think of. Let me know if you got something better. Is just like shenanigans of them trying to fight back against the supervisor and not. Oh, maybe the middle part is he organizes the work strike.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And then that's when the manager says enough is enough. Like if they're not working anyway, why take the risk? Let's just get rid of them if they're not producing anything.
Oh man.
Maybe that's the middle of episode 2 is whoever our protagonist is, our mechanic, opens or organizes the work strike.
Yeah, because that's core to the story, but that also feels like, depending on who the characters you're interacting with to get that done, that gives way for B plot.
And I think it kind of has a good
where that
kind of pendulum swing flow to it too, because it's like we blow up the ship at the end of episode 1, seems good, and it's like the supervisor comes down and it's bad. He probably he puts like harsher rules on them, like it's just worse living with him there, and he's like punishing people for things like that are like just to punish people, like because they're just trying to give him a hard time to like just to find who's responsible and inspire fear in them to get them back to work harder. And and then I think your next moment is your protagonist gives the inspiring speech of like, no, if like this is how they're gonna punish us for not doing a good enough job, like let's just not work at all and see how much they like that.
Yeah.
And so then and then this is so messed up, because then there's like guilt when the town gets bombed for the protagonist of like, if I just didn't make everyone stop working. Yeah. But there's no way that there's no way you could know that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But
they just
that's good.
Oh,
yeah. And then because then that makes the manager suck so much more, because he caused that pain for the protagonist. Plus, killed all their loved ones and stuff. Yeah. Basically, their whole way of life destroyed. So then, the town gets bombed.
Only 2 episodes.
The supervisor is killed. So, yeah, that's half. That's only half of this series.
What I'm saying. That's only half of it. Like the other half could be anything. Well, not anything, but it could be. Like, we don't necessarily need to stay on this planet.
No, yeah. I didn't think we were going to shoot the missile at the end of the pilot. Like, that's...
yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. That's about half the project. What do you say we go to commercial break?
That's what I was thinking, too.
Yeah, let's go to commercial break. It's been a little while since we've talked about our sponsors.
Yeah. All right.
Also, please sponsor our show.
Let's go down the pipe. Howdy doodle. Is that you, young man? Or woman? Or friend? I've got a question for you. Have you ever,
What happened to you when you went down the pipe?
I got aged a little bit. You know, that pipe
is... I finally went down the pipe this time, but it didn't do that to me.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
What?
They're still doing it. It's still worse for you.
Yeah, you go up and down that pipe for a while. Yes, you.
No, mine was just like 2 seconds.
What?
Yeah, it was like real quick. I went down. It was really like pleasant.
I wish I could be like you, youngster. Going through the pipes all smooth and easy.
God, I hope this isn't anyone's first episode.
Oh my goodness.
They don't know what this pipes thing is.
Well, if that were the case, then perhaps you should buy LSD online.
Buy LSD online?
Yes, I've started doing that lately, and I think it's pretty cool.
How does that work? Where do you go?
Well, I go into my old fancy computer. It's still a dial-up. And I go on to Internet Explorer, and I change out...
You don't even have Microsoft Edge.
No, I change out MSNBC, and instead I go to buy.lsd.onl.
Buy.lsd.onl?
Precisely.
Buy LSD online.
Yes.
Now I get it.
Yes, for real. I go there and I get to watch all kinds of amazing content with these young chaps. They have conversations. I learn the thing about... well, I won't get into the hamburger thing.
Wait, who's this character?
Huh?
Who's this character? What's his name?
What?
What's your name?
Who? My name is Reginald.
Reginald?
Yes. I was told that I had to go down the pipes and
Reginald,
talk about buying LSD online.
Reginald, I think your pipe got mixed up with someone else's pipe.
What?
Yeah, I'm gonna go over there now. I think I see my friend Zave.
What?
Hey, Zave, there's a weird guy over there named Reginald. I got something I gotta talk to you about.
What's happening? What's going on?
I gotta talk to you about content.gives.
What?
Yeah, no, it was just something I've been thinking about a lot lately. Content.gives is this place you can go if you go on to the internet, maybe through Microsoft Internet Explorer.
I haven't used Internet Explorer.
Then you can go to content.gives and give your great ideas.
I might. I mean, do I get anything?
No.
Does anything happen if
Yeah,
I give?
no, not necessarily, but your idea could end up on a podcast.
My idea.
You don't get anything.
Wait, my idea could end up on a podcast?
Yeah.
I mean,
these two bozos will use it for their show, and you won't get paid. But you can submit your ideas to them.
But like the whole episode will be like my idea, though.
Yeah, maybe.
What do you mean, maybe?
And
I submit the idea. They should talk about.
Yeah, you can submit it.
I mean, sure.
You submit your idea at content.gives.
What was the link again?
Content.gives.
Okay, hold on. Let me. Content.gives. Oh, man.
And don't send in any pictures of your butts either. We don't want to see that.
What?
It's Content Factory, the show where it gets made.
Did we ever introduce ourselves earlier?
I
think we just said it's content. I just think we said it was content.
Yeah, we didn't introduce ourselves at the beginning of the show. God, we gotta get better at this.
Yeah, we gotta get better at
Hang on, let's do ones now, and then maybe
I'm not gonna edit them in. It's gonna happen now. It's gonna happen now. It's gonna happen. We're an hour in, but
okay.
You started off. I think I did it last time.
Okay, it's Content Factory, the show where it gets made. I'm Carson DeAngelis, assistant to the assistant manager.
And I'm Zave Davey, gaffer for the laugher. As a real position.
I'm not going to talk to you about your nickname.
Why not?
Because I want us to finish the show.
Okay.
But I'm upset that you chose gaffer. It's
gaffer for the laugher.
See, at least mine was like an office thing.
Okay, fine.
No, I think yours is better because I didn't pick I didn't really pick like a content themed
You're
job
just the
title.
assistant director. That could be for anything.
No, I was the assistant to the assistant manager.
Oh, well, okay, I guess I see how that relates, but that could be for anything.
For example, space drug.
Yeah.
Extraction.
Yeah, that could be something. That is some foundation
you know
that was laid down.
I just realized this just hit me. You were talking before about how, like, the crystals in their raw form are harmful to the aliens. They have to get processed and crushed in the machines first.
Yeah.
So somehow in episode 3 here, or in episode 4, they need to use the crystal to kill an alien or a bunch of aliens.
Yeah, that's like a discovery.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, they gotta learn that and utilize that.
Okay, yeah, it needs to be... Maybe in episode 3, it's the discovery, because you would have...
You gotta, like, discovery and, like, kill one alien by accident and have to, like, try to cover it up.
I think it should be a discovery in episode 2. Here's why. I think in episode 2, you have the supervisor come down to start punishing people and union busting and trying to find missile builders. And he's, like, in the factory, and he gets near one of the crystals, right? Or if the first thing is he's by the dust, and he's, like, all excited. He's like, oh, wow, there's so much of it. I've never seen it, like, actually in the factory with my own eyes. But then, like, later he's by, like, a raw crystal, and he's, like, recoils. Like, he's like, get that away from me. And, like, he's... Like, there has to... Like, it could be planted in that way. Like, when he's in the factory in the first place. Because then I don't think we'll have the same opportunity...
To do that later
to do that after we blow up the city. Yeah, like, like, at this point, if we
need
have...
to see that before the factory blows up. You're correct. Ooh.
I'm going to just put those, like, a side note.
Asterisk.
2, yeah.
We need to show that.
that the raw crystal is scary to aliens.
Well, that is true, because then that's your foreshadowing setting up for the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then
I do like having a lot of those sprinkled in where it's like it gets you further down the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I don't know how we'd be able to play this off. Maybe this is an episode 3 thing if they discover that crystals are dangerous. If they've discovered that we know that now. I feel like an accidental, not intentional murder of an alien with one, and then your protagonist is now like trying to cover it up, and then having other aliens go and investigate it, because now they're like, now we have people miss. Like, we knew this guy was missing because we blew him up, but like the guy who's gonna go check on that guy should have come back by now.
Yeah.
That's right. So that opens up like I feel like that's the pathway from the standard world into like up into the alien.
Someone else coming down, like someone else coming down?
Yeah, like someone else coming down, or like...
I still liked the idea of them taking the supervisor's original ship back up.
Yeah.
Because that's like something they have to get to.
That's true. You're right.
But I don't know. I could explore your idea. If someone else is the guy that comes to like... not only check on the like supervisor, but more importantly to them is like, see if the factory's still going to work or whatever. He could come down and be a major
surveyor.
Honestly, you could do both, because like that guy could be a ship. Yeah, it doesn't even necessarily need to be like someone. Like that could be
automated,
a crew. Yeah, or even automated. It's a drone ship going around the wreckage of the city with like a searchlight, just kind of. Or it's more futuristic. It's not a searchlight. It's like a
red
scanning
scanner.
It's scanning thing. Yeah, going
seeing
across
thermal
everywhere.
energy and heat to figure out if anyone's still alive.
And it sees someone still alive and fucking. It has like a flamethrower that comes down. So then we have our dragon for like the medieval half of this. And so then we see that it's like, oh no, like what are we gonna? And he has to, and then ultimately maybe the way they get into the supervisor's shuttle, and that combat ensues between them in the shuttle versus the drone craft. Like you get your first air battle that way, and then like that could be your climax. They slay the dragons essentially.
I love that. That's a good, because I feel like at this point we need to start leaving the ground level.
Yeah,
we need to start.
Yeah, we got to get off the ground.
We got to get
for
off ground
episode
level.
4.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even know if that's the end of episode 3 is destroying that drone. I feel like sneaking through
that's
the wreckage and getting to the ship. Yeah, that's just the beginning.
That's just how the episode started.
I mean, is this the one where, do we get onto...
I feel like this is the one where we get onto. Because I feel like... I'm not sure where episode 4 would end, like where the series is going to complete
Right, me neither.
But in terms of episode 3, I feel like we can get to the point where this planet is, done for. Like, we're out. Like, protagonist is now en route to a different world. Different planet. Like,
I'm thinking...
whether that be in the same original ship that they went up into, or if once they went up, they did what they needed to and hijacked an even larger, more beefed up ship to go, light years in seconds.
And they can go on to some other place, and they go off into the stars, and it's the end.
I feel, because that should set up episode 4, where if you start that and you haven't seen the other few episodes, it should feel like a almost completely different show. Not literally, but it should be like.
But they could be going back to the aliens capital or something. So at least it's still.
It's still reminiscent. You still have all the things that have been laid down.
What if so we could go? They go straight up to the. Yeah. I don't feel like they would though. I mean, at this point, it's they wouldn't feel equipped to go up, right? With nothing. You know what I mean? The missile didn't.
Maybe
blow
this is where we get our crafting scene. I don't know if that was planted earlier.
You know what? I think we kind of changed it out for the missile thing, because I think kind of my version of crafting was put a battery in it. It was what.
Oh, you put a battery.
No, we could totally have the. we have the crafting a weapon, and it is based on their knowledge that the aliens are threatened by raw crystal.
Yeah.
And so they make like the crystal gun or something. Wait, no, they're spears, right? Because they got to come up and be all medieval on them. So I love the idea of they form a militia in episode 3, and in episode 4 they come bursting out of their ship with shields and spears, but they're tipped with toxic crystals that are like melting the skin of any aliens they puncture.
Oh man, that'd be good. Well, that gives you. I mean, why stop at spears? You can have like axes, full on like sword blades.
Some dude's got a crossbow, like,
right? Like I feel like as long as it has like some element of it.
As long as it's got the crystal.
Yeah,
man, and it's good because you could really have a whole montage scene of just different weapons that were made, and that can get pretty ridiculous. You can go as far as like nunchucks, like whatever you feel like doing.
Right, and like someone's gonna pull out like an electric triangle.
Brass knuckles. Just literally, he's got some dude's just holding shards of crystals between his fingers, like Liam Neeson in The Gray, and he's just gonna start punching and clawing.
Oh my god. Dude.
So I think instead of going straight up into space and to like fight the ship, because they don't have anything yet, there has to. At this point, it has to be. At least 2. Because in the beginning of episode 3, after the town gets blown up, your protagonist is with whoever your character B is. Mm-hmm. So one of them goes, I know who can help us. And it's like we have to... And they go to another town, like a different... a different factory. And I think all of I'm picturing this world as like everyone lives at a factory with like a refinery.
You just go factory to factory.
Like that's all there is. Like
you don't go shopping. I mean, you just
you just eat
dust.
You just eat the like canned
you
generic mystery meat that comes down. Yeah, the rations that come from the supervisor and his company. So they have to go to like another
oval
town essentially to meet this new character who's gonna. This is I think gonna be. Maybe this is the person who's gonna be like the like if our main character is the mechanic, so because we wanted to have something to do with big machines and things like that. This could be more of like your weapon guy.
Okay.
Or I don't know. Maybe he's a crystal guy somehow, like a mineral. No, that doesn't make. There wouldn't be a crystal guy in this. That'd be a weird thing to specialize in this survival-based
like
world.
Blacksmith.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is he's a blacksmith?
Yeah. So he's like, sure, I could. You need me to forge you some weapons?
He's like, that's my job.
That is the thing. That is the thing that I do. I can forge you some weapons.
It's like I miss doing that ever since war became obsolete.
Right? Like all I do is make crystals now. Like
crunch up crystals and eat rations.
I do like the running in and asking someone like everyone trying to ask people if he knows where they can forge like weapons, and they're no, dude, nobody does that anymore. And like running in somewhere and having that.
And you know what I think happens is
that is cathartic.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like I have a friend who can do this, and it kind of all fits. It's like it's kind of convenient. I don't know, but it's also like it's not the solution. Like it's something they have to do. It's like we have to get to this person. Yeah. So I feel like it still works.
It adds to the quest line. I mean that's real.
I mean they go to, and I think what happens is. To kind of help flesh out the middle of episode 3, is they get to the second town, they meet the blacksmith, he gets the idea, he's like, I know, I can start working on this. He's like, give me some time. And in the meantime, the manager is sending, he's just like, oh wait, why is the supervisor's ship over here? Like, that's weird, because they can just see that, like, on his map.
Like,
so they end up, like, he'd probably, like, send someone over there. Like, some alien... guard. They probably think that it is the supervisor, and it's like go arrest him. So they wouldn't send like a whole army. Like they would just send like there would be like some aliens would come.
They'd
up
be like,
with
make it
guns.
subtle. We don't need this to be a big thing.
Yeah, just go arrest the supervisor. He's probably like, why is he going off on his own? No one ever does that. Like, So I think they go to the blacksmith, and then that town essentially gets attacked by whoever's coming for him.
Oh, dude. What was that sound?
So that town gets attacked by whoever's looking for supervisor to arrest him. Essentially, they're like, because they're coming in like who's hiding him? Like they're like trying to like turn over everyone's house, and it ends up being like the people start like fighting back, and then that gets you to your militia We got our ragtag militia now.
The whole town is like, you just attacked us for no reason. Sure, the guy who just came here and said... But the
difference was... And this can be something like the manager says this, like this is why, I just wanted to wipe out the whole town. Like, we can't... Like, you see, you're trying to keep these people, the problem keeps happening, is like... And it's like... It seems so cruel, and we think, like, what a villain. But remember, in the end of episode 2, like, the starting town gets all completely blown up, like, basically except for our characters. Mm-hmm. This town just gets attacked by, like, some aliens.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is why they never do that, because now this whole town is willing to fight back. Yeah. And they're like, all right, everyone, shut down the factory, bring all the crystals here, get all the metal you can find. Yeah. And we have, like, a whole montage scene of them training and crafting.
Yeah.
I'm just going to write montage for that.
Yeah. I do like that whole, like, army building recruiting.
Yeah, army building. Like, we just do that real quick, I think, in the middle of episode 3.
I like that this episode just becomes like an RTS for a second. Yeah. But that's also insane, because it's like, part of you feels like that might happen inevitably when you're like watching this earlier, but also like, I don't know how that's gonna, like, I don't think that... It feels like that should happen with the first town, and when it gets blown up, you're kind of like
kind of disappointed. But then, like, they have another chance here, and it works.
Yeah.
And they take like the guns, and they take the ship, both ships, right? And they go up to attack, right? I think they launched the attack as the cliffhanger, because obviously there's some bad. But I don't know. Like, all the other cliffhangers so far have been something unexpected happens at the last moment.
Yeah.
I liked that was happening.
I mean, okay, run it back a little bit for me. Run it back for a little bit.
Okay. Episode 3. We got to sneak away from this drone thing. We got to get to the supervisor's ship. Mm-hmm. They blow up the drone. Mm-hmm. They go to the blacksmith's town, right? And at this point, the manager and everyone else still thinks this is the supervisor. They're like, why did he just destroy our drone? And why is he flying over here now? He's like he's trying to like escape.
Rogue.
He's gone rogue, yeah. So they go to the blacksmith, right? And then on their end, they give them the idea. They start the crystal crafting, right? And then the aliens send some guys over, like some guards basically, to go over and arrest the supervisor. They come and harass the town looking for the supervisor. They fight back, kill the soldiers, and form a militia. Montage of training and building weapons, and then something else happens. And I'm thinking, what is about to happen is they're about to launch and go do an attack on the ship, right? And I don't know, maybe they do. Or, what about this? This is good. Because I didn't want to... I liked this idea of a ship comes down, and they're like, oh shoot, wait. Like, abort. Like, don't... Like, everyone get ready to defend. Like, actually. And this one ship comes down, and it lands. And this door opens, and, like, the manager comes out. And, like, that throws a wrench into things right there. Because it's like, what is... why is he... Like, he must, like, know, like, he must have something set up where we can't kill him. Like, why is he just right here in front of it? This is crazy. Like, something's going on here.
Yeah.
And then I think, but I didn't want to lose the idea. We wanted to get off the ground in this episode. So I think we could have the manager come down right at the end, reveal himself, and he's like, he's like, which one of you is, and says our protagonist's name. Or like his employee number or something. Like he's like, which one of you is? Like, he knows who he is.
Mechanic.
What? Like why does he know? Yeah, why does he know the mechanic?
Mechanic ID.
And he like he's like feels like a leadership responsibility. He identifies himself, so like he doesn't want everyone to get killed. And he's like, okay, come with me. And he like takes him up there, and he's like, and he's like, what he says? He's like, come over here, and he like steps. Everyone's like, don't do it, He's like, no, I have to. And he like goes. He steps across the distance from his militia who are all lined up. He goes across to the manager and his guards, and the manager's just like, it is time to negotiate. And he like takes him in, and they're going up to have a freaking union negotiation meeting in the mothership. And that's the episode 4 would open with him at the same table across from the manager.
No, that's what I'm interested in.
That would be good.
Because then you could set up the same shot from earlier.
And you still have that militia, by the way, to bring back in. Like, we're not losing that.
They're still on the...
They're still ready to go on the ground.
On the leash, ready to go.
Yeah. But everyone forgot about the supervisor's ship, like, it's still there.
No, what is it? The same shot with the supervisor that you're seeing that has the manager's hand like on the desk like from earlier. You get to recreate that shot.
That's how episode 4 will start.
But now
that's
you get
awesome.
With the mechanic, and he's sitting there like, like actually sitting there trying to negotiate stuff. Like it's just like very like crystal ball like office table. Like it's just gotta feel so like tense. Like
the
room's gotta feel like solid, dude. Oh, and what a way to start, because that's one of those things where like imagine they're in negotiations and things are going well, and that's like where it's leading up to, and then they hit a snag in it, and they're like, well, no, like if that's the exception, then we'd be off the table. Like we can't do that. Like.
Yeah.
If the exception to, okay, sure, we don't have to mine dust anymore is we have to still live on this planet. No. Like, yes, this is obviously a highly radiated planet. We don't want to live here anymore. I want to have a normal life again.
Yeah, what is this actual, like, what is it that he's off? What is the manager going to offer and be like, this is enough? That's what will give me some direction.
Yeah, that's what we need what's the contract here?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Like, what is he like, you guys are allowed to produce 10% less? And, like, we're lowering your quotas? Like, what is he going to give them?
We'll lower your quotas.
Oh, wait, this is your temptation moment. He's going to offer... He singled him out. He got the manager by himself. He's just going to offer him something to try and get him to turn his back. Yeah. This is that part of the story.
You'll be like, He tries to corrupt you're a martyr here, so I will promote you to the ranks and replace the supervisor. So then I'll keep you alive and I'll let you run the place.
He's like, you know what? He's like, you're
got
right.
some drive, kid.
He's like, yeah. He's like, you're right. We want to increase connection between us and humans. So we want to offer you the supervisor position,
supervisor,
as well as
ambassador.
as well as $1 billion. You know what I mean? Like, it's super obviously just corruption. They're gonna, and he's like gonna be the supervisor at the end of it. But he's like, he's saying this whole thing about, and he's like, it's not even supposed to be believable. But he's just like, we'll put out the image like this is supposed to be a good thing, and it's like, that's great because that's gonna stop the rebellions, because they're like, oh look, a human's in charge now, and he's like, that's like such a, I feel like that's great. He's trying to give him he's trying to corrupt him to become the supervisor.
Take the same thing, but this time, instead of the role being titled supervisor, he describes it as like
it gives it a better title.
Yeah, well. It's like brand ambassador.
But human resources, because but in his sense, it's humans are a resource, like
literal
human resources expert, or whatever you would call that. I don't know what you call what the title is for that person, but
I like the idea of it being like an ambassador. So
human resource ambassador.
So it sounds like, my role is to be the middleman and connection between us guys and those people up there.
Just
but
like
all the
in
job
real life,
functions
how
are literally
whole thing is to be the connection between the frontline employees and the corporate.
Yeah.
But it's like,
but
it really is humans as a resource. Is why it's called that.
Being essentially just replacing the supervisor. Like all the job functions would be the same.
All right, so he's trying to corrupt him to be
corruption, but with a different title
to HR.
Yeah.
However, our protagonist responds some way. What does he like? How does he? They can't just start fighting. You know what I mean? He's like completely. If he can't just punch the manager, he's gonna get killed
by it. You gotta see, like, I feel like in his character, just so that he can have the ability to be like, no, this isn't what I should do. Like a little bit of him should like lean into it.
You're right.
Like, well, I don't know, like, a billion? Like, You said our factory's only made 12 million? My salary is 100?
But like,
but he's gotta ultimately decline.
he sees down out the window.
Yeah.
And the manager's telling him like, look, all of this could be yours. And he goes, but it's nothing. Like you've given us nothing, and you're telling me that could be mine. Like no, I want more for everybody.
There we go. That conversation in a scene.
Because then you have them leaving that table too, right, and walking
to
up to
like a window or
the
something.
window to like look down or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you go right into like the ending of this all dialogue. Well, no, not the ending, because this is the last episode.
Yeah,
so
this is the last episode. This is like the
we'll
end
go
of the
back to
scene.
the fight, but like, well, the reason he's gonna let him leave the ship is because he's like, like I said, like I don't want to have a martyr. That he's like, I'm not gonna go back on that. So, like, I regret it, but I'm gonna let you go. And he's like, he just knows he lost, and he's like, he can't corrupt him, and he just sends him back down. And then your last thing is the fight. With this, he roused the militia, but I don't know. I feel it's like a missing link there.
I feel like he's got to.
No, he's got to become a prisoner, and another character needs to step up and rally the militia. I want the militia to come up there without him. Is what I want.
Because what I'm thinking is, he's got to. The manager's like, okay, here's your options. Either you accept the role or you become a prisoner. Well, I lock you in the ship.
Yeah, you could even do it like I said, where he's just like, he just offers him the role. He says no. He's like, I'm going back. And he's like, well, like I said, I don't want to have a martyr. Arrest him. Like, and then he's like, wait, what? But yeah, you just add that part. He's just, okay, arrest him. Like, just put him in a laser cell or something.
You have people on the ground floor
space dungeon.
rally together because they're like, he said he was doing negotiations, and he never came back.
It's been days.
It's been days. We need to go up there and get him back. And they go through. You have the moments of them like breaking him out, and I feel like you need to get the information from the manager though that there is a better planet on the beyond. So maybe in that conversation when he's like, okay, maybe
he shows him.
He's like, okay, sure, fine. If you don't want to manage this planet, I'll offer you Cronenberg L12, and he goes and shows him a picture of it, and it's like
humans are living like fine there for some reason, just because there's way more resource, and like the aliens are still getting what they need out of it. So it's not like, and it's not like they're not oppressing the humans, but it's just a way better planet. The entire
planet is like tropical.
Yeah, and it's great,
worldwide tropical. So he's like,
no, it needs to be a result of they produce so much on that planet that. He's like, but it's clearly just like the planet is filled with resources. He's like, look, the humans on this planet produce so much, for us. Like we let them live this way, and we still get our profit. And he's like, you guys have enough to do this, and like we're living like this.
Yeah, like
so then
you have to have that.
I like that we're seeing another planet, even if it's now in the 4th episode, but we're not actually. Like going there, and like right at the end.
I want to go there though.
If we're gonna go somewhere, I don't want it to be like another human world.
Episode,
I want it to be the alien capital or something. Like I want it to be a continuation of this climb up the ladder. I think is the best way to do that. So then it's still your through line.
So you'd have to go to like the Citadel.
No, they have to go to corporate.
It's a whole separate planet that's just corporate.
It's called corporate.
Oh man, that'd be sick. Well, because something else that I'm thinking about too. Episode 4 here, something that would be, I initially was going for episode lengths of 8 to 10 minutes. If these end up being 20, I'm fine with it. Honestly, I don't matter the consistency length as long as their minimum hit of 8 is hit. But for the last episode, since there seems to be so much happening, it would be kind of cool for it to be like a double jam-packed one.
Yeah, extra long for the end.
Yeah, like a longer than usual. Oh man, that's good. That's good. Wow. Dude, we made a 4 episode. Like we made that.
Yeah.
It's been like dude,
I feel like the ending is a little bit could be tightened up,
okay.
but I don't know. I mean, I feel like we got a whole show though.
We could buff out the ending bit, but for having nothing like 2 hours ago,
Yeah.
we got a show here. Like, this is something that I want to watch. I'm compelled by this. Like,
All right, man. That was yeah.
yeah.
I think we did. We haven't done a full like mini series before, so this is a cool run.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want the final word?
Yeah. Let's hit the final word.
Okay, I'm gonna go first this time.
Okay.
Your
Target,
is
unfortunately,
not
in
business.
Sorry.
Or
That.
inconvenience. It's like something they would, if like your local Target closed, they might put that on the door. Great. It's a great story.
That's amazing. Wow. That could imagine that sign put up on the outside of a dance studio. Like somewhere that doesn't make sense. Now that's a real story. All right.
Yeah, next week on Content Factory. Why is this your Target is closed sign outside the dance studio? The mystery.
Yeah. I hope we remember that for next week. That's gonna be like a whole new concept.
We didn't remember to introduce ourselves this week. We're gonna remember that next week.
Oh, I gotta go. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
it. Yeah, cut the tapes.
Yeah, cut the tapes. Cut the tapes. Peace out.
Dump it.